All right, everybody. Welcome to Discussions in Education. This is Tony with Jimmy and Vern.
What's up?
What is up? I miss you guys.
Yeah. So, you were just telling us about your your big pay increase from AP to principal.
It's not that big of a pay. It's not that big of a pay. It covers my taxes, but it's the learning that I'm experiencing and the
power. You got a good crew.
I don't know about the power, but I'm never a power trip guy. But it's different in that I'm learning a lot of things. Now I can really focus on curriculum rather than the things that
sounds boring, but go ahead.
It's just challenging. I can geek out. I can geek out on those things. You know what I'm saying?
Go ahead, though. Yeah.
Like that was my lit coach. We were gonna do staff meeting, prepping for the staff meeting CIT. But there's a lot of things that we need to do so that our mind is in the instruction rather than just the day-to-day operations of the school.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. So you're trying to figure out how to do that transition to get you to a place to work.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
But I mean, you got a strong office team. You got a strong team in general.
That's a crew right there, huh? You saw the crew, though, huh?
Yeah.
They're down.
No,
that's really evident of what happened this year. I mean, this week as well.
Okay, so break down. What do we want to talk about? What are we talking about today?
Bro, what happened over at Davis?
What are you talking
about? Man, I got kids scared. Wednesday,
yesterday.
So the election? Are we just? And we're talking all around it. Just say the election, man.
The election.
You guys are dancing. What about what happened?
And I want to know what you guys did over there, and are you responding as a therapist? What
I haven't had any issues with the kids.
All right.
I haven't had any issues with any of the kids. It's more the adults. I'm like, hey, I talked to this one teacher. I was like, hey, did you do your civic duty? And it was like probably 40 feet down. And she looked at me and she was on the phone, it looked like, and then she just waved me off and started crying and walked away. I was like, whoa. Crying.
When was this, Tuesday or Wednesday?
That was Wednesday.
Yesterday,
right?
Wednesday. Yeah.
Oh, you're like, yo!
Yeah.
Oh, happy Jimmy. That'll make you feel.
Joking it a little bit. And then she couldn't handle it. I was like, oh, my bad. Well, I don't know, man.
So you're like,
I can't. It's not my fault, man. What am I going to do? Look.
How dare you?
See that right there, bro? That's funny. That is funny. You're talking about funny. Is it funny, though? That's funny.
Hey, bro, I don't have a sense of entitlement like that. Nothing's guaranteed.
No.
The system never shocks me because I expect it to be as shocking as it is.
Yeah.
So whatever happens, I'm like, I got to roll with it either way.
Either way.
I
noticed that.
It just happens. Like, you got to roll with the punches, man.
It's like
what'd you guys deal with?
Well, just looking at the.
Sorry, he's got to keep his phone on now because he's admin. He's got to be able to check what's going on.
Looking at observing people's posts and Facebook, right?
Oh, sorry.
Like my African American brothers and sisters aren't tripping as much as everybody else.
Right. Really?
You know, I'm noticing that. It's like,
a lot. It's
I would agree.
Yeah.
They're not as angry about it. It feels like it's because maybe you've gotten used to it. What is it? I noticed that, bro.
You're not speaking for your race. We're just asking for you.
Okay.
Your opinion.
For me, it's more. I expect the system to be as dirty as it is. It was going to be all bad anyways.
Yeah.
No matter what, it wasn't good for me either way. It's like it's not good for me either way. So it's like whatever, you know.
Yeah.
We just had a black president. He didn't do a whole lot for black people either. So what do you want me to do? I mean, he was a good president, but he didn't do a lot to address black issues. So all of a sudden, here's this white woman going to come in here and all of a sudden address black issues? Hell no. She's the one who said we were super predators back in the 90s when I was a young black male.
Well, she's also the one whose daughter's like, no, marijuana kills people. It still should be a Schedule I drug. And you're like, what are you...
Right.
Come on. How can you even
Have you read anything?
That?
Have you read anything? Have you seen any documentaries?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Have you listened to Joe Rogan podcast?
Yeah.
Exactly.
You got to evolve your thinking. You can't be stuck in your own. So, yeah, man, it's going to be what it is.
So is that a fair assessment when I say that, it looks like my black friends aren't tripping as hard as everybody else.
Well, yeah, because the derogatory statements weren't directed necessarily at us, like they were the Latino people, like they were the Muslim people. Yeah. But there's always people already hate us.
Yeah,
they already fear us.
They didn't have to say anything because it's already there.
It's nothing new.
It's not shocking awe to us. Yeah. Like, people don't like. Man, look at. Yeah. They're killing us in the streets. You know what I mean? And there's a black president now. We're getting murdered by the police in the streets, and they're getting away with it. How much worse can it get for us as black men?
Was it your wife who posted it? It was like the biggest outrage, the biggest shock, the biggest like despair that you see on Facebook is like middle class white Americans who are like, what? Mm-hmm. We're racist? Yeah. And it's like, yeah. Like, that's what we've been telling you. Like, I got into, and I think like a lot of my posts on Facebook are coming directly because I'm reading their posts. I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, one of my friends was posting, and I got a lot of respect for him, but he was like, well, we need to come together now, and we need to like move forward. I'm like, what the hell are you talking about? Like, what do you mean come together? Yeah. Like, I'm going to come together with a dude who says that shit about people? Yeah. No, I'm going to get on with my life. Yeah. I'm not going to treat people like crap.
Yeah.
But I'm not, like, I can't extend that hand until there's some sort of extension towards me first.
So, what do you mean? Where's your resistance from? Because I understand the come together concept, meaning, look, you guys supported, like, or let's just say I was a Trump supporter. We're not even going to say that. Let's just say somebody's a Trump supporter.
You're the 8%, bro.
You know?
You're the 8% black
somebody's a Trump supporter. How am I going to be that? You know what I mean? I was dealing with that. I'm not ashamed to say I voted for Jill Stein.
Yeah,
I'm not ashamed to
say.
You know? Bro.
Yeah, right?
We got 3 people who voted for her.
I know who your wife voted for.
That's funny how we're talking about it, right?
Uh-huh.
And we never talked about who we're going to vote for.
I don't have a problem with anybody asking me.
Yeah, no.
I just felt like I have to vote for someone that I feel is aligned with what
and people are like,
that's what we're supposed to do.
Regardless of what Trump or Hillary or everyone else stands for.
You do the research.
Yeah.
And you do your civic duty based on the information you have that matches with your morals, your...
And for me, consistency. Mm-hmm. Like, her message hasn't changed. And listen, like, everyone's always like, well, she's an idiot. She doesn't know how the system works. I'm like, well, first off, she doesn't like the system.
No.
So that's why I like her.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, but the other part, too, is that, like, listen, like, she's not going to know everything. And yeah, guess what? Sometimes she's going to take stances that I'm like, really? Vaccines? You're going to not be sure about vaccines?
Mm.
I was like, I can't agree with that. But there aren't things that she believes that I fundamentally am like, you're insane. And I did have that with Trump's policies, and I did have that with Clinton's policies when I heard what they talked about.
More so than what you have with
and like I said, again, consistency. Like, people are like, well, you want people to change their minds. I do want people to change their minds. I want people to come to realizations on their own. I don't want them to do that mid-election season when they see that that's what their polls show people want. And that's what I felt on Clinton's half, which is that at the beginning she was saying one thing, and then halfway through she's like, oh, okay, now I'm going to say this thing. And everyone was like, look, her opinion grew. And I'm like, no, it didn't. She didn't come to that realization. She was forced to that realization.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And for me, like, I want some people who are going to try to grow. Like, I would have voted for Johnson over Clinton, because at least I felt he's trying to figure stuff out, and he's willing to try different approaches to things.
So putting it back to education and to our environment that we're...
Yeah.
Okay.
How did Davis kids... How is that affecting...
The Davis kids...
Your guys'
We're scared.
Work.
The thing is, like, the kids didn't know the specifics. The kids were just, in general, scared. Alright? I had some kids asking whether there was going to be a purge, like, from the stupid-ass movies. I got kids asking, like... are we getting deported tomorrow? Like, what about my family? So I have
real
kids
concerns.
Are real concerns. I mean, and that's something that like I understand where like Trump supporters are coming from, in that like Clinton said a lot of stuff that for them is like, she's going to take away my ability to provide for my family, because there's a lot of hunters on that side, and a lot of things she's saying about guns freak them out, and they're like, well, I can't protect my family. You're going to do this. That's freaking them out. But that has nothing to do with like, your immediate bodily safety where the government is targeting you and they're taking that away. They're taking away what you consider a protection, and then you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, like, I was trying to explain to kids, like, listen, all right, there's not going to be a purge in that sense. I was like, but I remember in California, I think it was 10, 15 years ago, when they started doing those sweeps in L.A. and San Diego, and they were sweeping up all the brown folks.
Oh, yeah, I do remember that.
And dropping them off in the buses in Tijuana.
I had people that were living in my house.
Yeah.
My mom's house that, was purged.
Yeah, and that's the thing, is that, they were taken, dropped off. And, like, I remember hearing stories about people saying, like, I didn't have my license. I was at this Mexican restaurant ordering food. Like, I had some cash. I didn't have my license. I didn't have my wallet. They came through, grabbed everyone, grabbed me, put me on this bus. I'm not Mexican. Like, they dropped me off in Tijuana. I don't have any way to contact folks. And this was before everyone had cell phones. So, like, I was trying to, like, make it clear to them. But that was yesterday. I was in a state of shock. I wasn't, okay, maybe I wasn't in a state of shock. I was in a state of extreme disappointment in my liberal friends. I think that's where I was.
Why are your liberal friends?
Because I really felt that moment of, like, if you just fucking listen to us for once. If you just listened to us and just gone for fucking Sanders, this situation would have been different. And one of my friends was like,
they voted for an anti-establishment person, and that easily could have been
Bernie.
Yeah, it could have been. And they're like, well, no, if you think they would have voted for Sanders, I'm like, yeah, a lot of them would have, because they felt like, he's Jewish. Some, we wouldn't have got the Christians, but we would have gotten a lot of those middle-class white folks who are like, you know what, he's honest.
The ones that
he's not going to try to screw us.
4 years ago.
And you would have had the millennials, the young kids that are excited, the new voters, the anti-establishment. You would have had that momentum, and they would have been feeling the burn, and that would have picked up even more, and there would have been more momentum and more excitement. There wouldn't have been conversation about emails and Benghazi. There wouldn't have been anything about that. The staffer and how they had the scandal to slight Bernie out of the nomination.
Yeah, and I mean, imagine how those debates would have gone when, Trump goes off on a tangent and it goes back to Sanders. He doesn't go on tangents. He would have been like, well, I don't know what my opponent was talking about, but here's the answer to the question you asked.
Right.
And it's like, okay, well, people... I mean, that's the thing. So it's that... And then that was the other side that I was dealing with on Facebook. Our friends saying, like, okay, well, we really need to rework our... And we really need to, like, listen to each other and blah, blah, blah. I was like, no. You need to listen.
Right.
Because he's like, well, no one saw this coming. It's like, a lot of people saw this coming.
I saw this coming.
Yeah. Everybody saw this coming.
That's why I'm not shocked.
Yeah.
Boy Dante
I guess that's true.
My boy Dante Burks called this... As soon as he...
What do you say?
As soon as he started running for president, he said Donald Trump is going to win. I bet you.
And you're like, get out of here.
I said, Burks, get out of here, dude. There's no way this guy's going to win.
What was his reasoning?
He said there's a lot of angry white folks out there. Yeah. And
8 years of Obama.
Yeah, and he's going to be screaming. They're going to be he's going to be pushing to that crowd, and he's going to come back and win.
In a way, that's kind of smart.
For real?
In a way, that's kind of smart, huh?
Yeah.
No, dude's hella smart.
You gotta appreciate the strategy. I don't care how much you hate it.
Yeah.
You gotta appreciate the strategy.
That's the game.
Let's break this down.
Yeah.
And this is, no one's told me this. This is just what I thought about. You think about the civil rights movement, right? Mm-hmm. Now it's for equal rights for black folks and minorities. Mm-hmm. So what ends up happening, we get, black folks start to get more rights and this and that. So let's look at what married themselves to the civil rights movement, the women's rights movement, mm-hmm. right? So it distracted from the civil rights movement and branched off, and the women's rights movement got momentum, and then women got their rights, and then they forgot to continue to push civil rights. So women's movement continued on even until now.
Yep.
Civil rights got pushed to the side, and okay, we got certain rights, and then we're done. And then that was it, and it kind of got pushed to the side. Now, we get a black man in president, right? This woman marries herself to the black man and tries to ride that train again. So the white folks, the old white uneducated men, saw the trend coming. You're not doing this to us again, right? With the civil rights and the white and the women's rights thing, and they said, no, we're going to suppress this. We're going to stomp this down, and that's exactly what they did, in my opinion. If you,
I can see that.
That's my opinion.
I mean, that's equity
for those people means oppression.
Yes, that's what they believe. Equity is oppression.
But no. But here's the issue: is that they are facing oppression, and they don't know the source. They know the source that they're told about. I mean, to be real, 59 million Americans voted for Trump. 59 voted for Hillary.
59 million now?
59 million on both sides.
It was popular, right?
It was a 200,000 vote difference. That's nothing.
Who won?
Oh, Hillary won the popular by 200,000. People are like, oh,
that's the system.
It was even.
200,000 people?
Yeah, that's nothing. Like if we're looking at percentages,
that's the east side of San Jose.
Yeah,
because it's a million people in San Jose. I'll say east side.
Compared to
250.
Compared to all of California, like I mean that's the thing.
It's a popular vote though.
Yeah. No, I mean she was.
If you want the votes to be each vote to be counted as they say,
you gotta go popular.
You gotta go popular,
right? Yeah. If you want each vote to really count,
they say each vote count.
No,
come on,
no.
Well, I mean they gotta do all sorts of things. You gotta go with non-insane redistricting for like all these things would need to change that aren't going to change because unless they're absolutely forced to. Because they're making too much money off of that system.
There's a lot of money being made.
Right. I mean, and that was the thing I was calling out too. I was like, folks are blaming Democrats and Republicans. I was like, you guys know how they were going to operate. I was like, why are you blaming them for operating the way they're going to operate? I was like, the people I blame 100%, I put it on the media. Because 16 years ago, they realized that the most money is in fear and war and just creating this environment and creating these talking rooms and creating, that's where the money was at. And so they left their job of informing the public and
that's why you have Vice.
Yeah. And that's the thing. That was my message yesterday for the kids. So yesterday, my message for the kids was like, hey, here's all this stuff, but here's the deal, especially for my 8th graders. Some of you are going to be old enough to vote in the next presidential election. What I want you to do right now is start looking for different news sources. I was like, they're out there.
Even Al Jazeera?
Yeah, Al Jazeera, Vice. I don't even care. I mean, if they're looking at Vice and they're looking at Breitbart and they're looking at, Democracy Now! And, if they're looking at the whole range of opinions and then they're making...
You have to look at different sources and so you can compile your own opinion.
And that's the thing. Is
Young Turks.
Yeah. But see, and then at the same time... But you can't just look at the liberal. You have to look at the conservative opinion
you have
too,
to understand
because you don't understand where they're coming from, and that's where.
Yeah, that's why my boy who lives in Alcone, Nevada, Filipino guy, Filipino guy, probably 200-mile radius, straight up, and that is the environment that he is in, right? Big Trump supporter. Clicked on his Facebook page, looked at all the comments from his friends, just to see their lens and their perspective on,
how being elected
from their, from their point of view. Why is this so important to them?
And what you get?
I got exactly what I think we've all been feeling. We live in this bubble. They live in that bubble, right? And we're all human beings, in that we want to
be
have
in the
our
tribe.
team.
Right?
I mean,
our tribe win.
Team.
Yeah?
Our tribe win.
Yeah.
So
it is definitely, for me though,
and I'm not shocked because my tribe wasn't going to win either way. You know what I mean? So I'm not hurt.
So here it is, right? So for us, I think we got this reality check in that, okay, we live in this bubble of Silicon Valley. All you see are brown people, you see a brown principal, you see a brown teacher,
brown counselors,
therapist. Exactly, right? We're winning,
right?
You know what? The reality is, boom, we'll turn that on any time. This is the reality. But
that's the check, yeah.
It's nothing that you don't already know, though. That's why it's not such a big surprise to you.
Right.
But for the rest of us, we're riding this high. Obama for 8 years, we're making progress. Right? And then we just got checked.
Things got stabilized.
Sobering.
I remember that Obama's not the norm.
Oh, yeah.
Obama and that's not the norm. Bush policies, that stuff is the norm.
Yeah.
That's the norm.
Because that's what Clinton's policies were. I mean, to make...
That's what I said. We were winning.
Yeah.
We were winning.
Yeah.
But the reality is...
Obama has his flaws. We know that.
Right.
But we were better off with him than what we're going to get, I'll tell you right now.
Best 8 years of my life.
Yeah, I know.
But that is the reality, and I appreciate the fact that I just got checked, because the reality is we don't have the power still. We don't, or no one, but the white male group has the power.
Well, it's kind of scary because if we look at it realistically, we're making more money than we ever have in our lives right now. We're probably making the most money.
We never thought we would be in the space where we are right now.
That's true.
We're making the most money, and that's behind the African American president. What will happen now? Will it go down, or will our money stay the same?
Will it go up?
Will it go up?
No, see, this was an interesting thing I brought up to the kids.
Sorry, I didn't mean to sidetrack you, but I wanted to get that in there.
No, but I also brought it up yesterday. I was like, you guys, here's the deal. Like, he's got a Republican Congress. He's going to be able to do a conservative Supreme Court. I was like, so there are some things that are going to go.
There goes a check and balances.
Roe versus Wade's going to head out. Definitely, probably any affirmative action stuff's going to go. Definitely any voter protection rights, that the minor ones that we had left, those are probably out. I was like, but here's some weird stuff. I was like, California pays the most in taxes. I was like, so if he goes flat rate, California is actually going to save a lot of money. Mm-hmm. If the federal government goes flat rate, no, everybody pays 25%. Boom. Okay, guess what? California also just proved this year that we're really good about taking care of our own. We passed Prop 55. Mm-hmm. So even if the federal programs leave and say, all right, we're not going to fund WIC anymore. All right, women, children, you fend for yourselves. We don't got the money for you. Social Security, we ain't got the money for old folks. It's very reasonable to see in California folks saying, all right, let's see. We each got another $100 on our paycheck. Let's do 50. Everybody in California, let's do another $50 from our paychecks. Let's throw that in there. Let's take care of women, children, and the old folks. So
California would be taken care of because of the money that we generate.
Yeah, because we are kind of socially liberal and we're socially
Valley here, bro.
Well, no. We're socially liberal in some areas. We're also very conservative in some areas. So that's why the death penalty.
I'm conservative when it comes to finances, man. I really am starting to get upset about my taxes, man. They're all in my pocket, dude.
Hey. But
that's what I'm saying, right?
I voted that way too. All these propositions, like, you want more money? No, I'm shooting you down. I'm shooting you down.
That's what you went by.
Oh man, you're not getting more money out of my pocket.
But they're getting it. They're getting it. Sorry.
They're getting it. Hey, that's the thing, though. The more money that you make, the more they want to, hand out your hand.
But that's the thing. I was told them, I was like, and the states that are going to get hurt by flat tax are all the ones in the middle.
That's true.
I was like, they're going to get hurt the most. They're the ones who get the most federal aid. I was like, so what did they... My question is, how is he going to do this? How is he going to work this system? Because he's going to give them all what they want. And when he gives them what they want, they're going to be like, well, our life really sucks. And people are like, I wonder how they're going to blame liberals at that point. I'm like, I don't know. I don't know what the Republicans are going to do. Because they're not going to have that, these Democrats are really fighting against it. I'm like, What
about the rallies over in Oakland?
Los Angeles too.
What about them?
They're destroying buildings and shops, and
I think it's ridiculous.
Bro.
I think you're wasting your time. You're a sore loser. Look, man, I understand you wanting to protest and go for walks and protest. Don't burn stuff down. Don't destroy property. Don't destroy people's livelihood. You can't do that. You're part of the problem. You're not a part of any solutions when you do that. Now you could protest and walk and scream and make
everybody
life uncomfortable. Right. You right to protest, but when you start burning stuff and burning people's buildings and tearing people's cars up in the street,
that has nothing to do with what they are trying to protest against.
So all of a sudden, we burn this town down. So now we're not going to let Trump be president. Like, what?
No,
it's going to happen.
When it was just the protests, they started off pretty peaceful,
which is cool.
Which is exactly it.
We have every right to do that.
I encourage that.
Yeah, yes. Absolutely.
And what people saw that as internationally was like, all right, if Trump does something crazy, people are going to come out and they're going to say something. Mm-hmm. All right, and that was kind of that message that folks were talking about.
That's what you should be sending a message to Trump. Like,
but now.
You're being held accountable.
People.
Yeah. Uh-huh. But now, with that rampant discussion, and here's the thing: is like, okay, you get in these Trump supporters who are like going out into this crowd and saying, "Oh, I voted for Trump," and first off, that was stupid as hell. Yeah. I'm like, and for Trump supporters on their side to then say, look at what they're doing to these Trump look at what they're doing to these people. It's like, well, what did you do to the same people who went to your organization and did the same thing? Consider that, but both sides need to consider that. But it's also, like you're saying, it's like that destruction, what that does is it feeds that narrative that they have going in the Midwest about minorities, about, black folk, about, whoever, like the entitled liberals on the West, like, oh, see, it's good that we got Trump in because he's going to be able to put a hand down on them. Mm-hmm. That's what I'm worried about, is that if you're setting that stage already.
Exactly what's happening. I mean, that's what, and the media will play that.
Oh, God, that's worth money.
That's worth money. That's what sells.
You know what? You got to believe that his approach was masterful. It was beautiful.
Beautiful.
You got people so upset about having a black president. Upset. Didn't want him to succeed. People's lives are better. The economy's turned around. Unemployment rates are down. So all this stuff is going on.
I got to respect that game. It's the game that I respect.
He hyped these people up on race, on gender issues, on Muslim, game, and fear.
But I have to respect
no
that
Republican would have ever won unless they did what he did.
That's not true.
Okay, tell me who would have won.
Running against Clinton? Imagine.
Who would have won?
Imagine, here's a big thing with Clinton. Whoever was there, the scandal thing was going to be a big part.
So who would have won?
Whatever. Kasich.
Kasich didn't have he didn't have the momentum.
He wouldn't need to. No, he wouldn't need the personality. That's the thing. Is like I felt like the Republicans were going to win this either way.
How? Tell me how.
Because Clinton, like,
it's not about her. He didn't win because of her. He won because of him. He didn't win because of what she did. He won because of what he did. No. He rallied all these other counties that were never going to come out and vote with all the racists, and he appealed to the uneducated white men.
True.
In a way that no one else had the courage to do.
Being impressed by the establishment.
He didn't. None of the.
A lot of middle class, college educated, majority white male, college educated, voted for him.
About 48%.
More than voted for Hillary. So you have college educated white males who are voting for him.
Those are some of your friends, man.
Yeah. So my thing is that if we had Sanders versus Trump, we already said Sanders would have taken this.
Yeah.
Sanders would have taken a heartbeat. So my contention is that, yes, I 100%, he had excellent ground game. But overall, I think that Hillary was always at a disadvantage. She is the most hated. The Republicans have built that up for 20 years of hating the Clintons. They have built that. That is an establishment. They don't trust her. People in general don't trust her.
Hillary lost it rather than Trump won it? I see it the other way.
I think it's a combination of both. My implication is that if it was any other Republican who was like a moderate Republican, like if Romney had run this year, if Mitt Romney had run this year and hadn't done all this crazy stuff in the past, if Mitt Romney had run this year, he would have taken this election hands down. Hands down. He would have taken it because they would have been like all the people.
Pretty terrible. But go ahead.
That's what I'm saying.
Establishment. Yeah. She's all establishment.
She's all establishment, but also she's all establishment, and then they also hate her. So, and then Romney would have been establishment, but also, well, you know what? He's a white male. We can do it. And part of that is a little, it's sexism there. But I mean, I agree. I don't think he would have had as many people out to vote.
This is the same reason why Ross Perot. This is the same reason why Ross Perot was so appealing.
Anybody else would have won. I don't think any other Republican would have won.
Okay.
This is the same effect that Ross Perot was so appealing to a lot of people because he was so anti-establishment.
Right.
That's true.
He was saying crazy ass stuff, right?
And that's my point. The other Republicans are establishment. They tried to fight Trump the same way, and they all got their ass kicked. That's why he was able to destroy them.
Yeah. But how many... Yeah, I also got to think, I know quite a few Republicans this year who voted for Hillary because they were like, oh, dude, our candidates are crazy. I can't vote for them. I got to vote for at least somebody who...
But what you have to understand is he got...
No, I know. He went out there...
votes of people who never voted before.
Yeah, he did what Obama did the first time around. He did what Sanders did.
Those are the same voters that Obama appealed to 4 years ago. They turned because this is...
Well, no.
He got new guys.
Yeah,
these are new voters.
I think Obama was the first one to really mobilize the youth who had been kind of lazy before, and then the minorities.
But the youth, though, I mean, those are. I think
they overwhelmingly voted for Hillary.
They did?
Yeah, the majority for
I thought it was like more like the 50-50.
I mean, it might be closer, but from what I saw last, but I was only looking at age. I wasn't looking at divided by race. So the age, there's a lot of Latinos in that, a lot of brown folks in that mix for the millennials. So
what's going to happen in 4 years? In the next 4 years?
I'm interested to see.
You didn't read
Back to the Future Part 3. Biff.
What did you say? What were you gonna say?
I mean, that was one post I did do. All the things that he can do.
Oh, the 100 days?
Well, his first 100 days where he was talking about what he wants to do, but I told him, I was like, there are things he needs congressional approval for, and there's things he really doesn't. Mm-hmm. I was like telling ICE to step up their game and start doing sweeps again.
He can stop wars.
He can do that first thing.
He can pull out any time.
He can stop wars, and technically under Obama and under Bush, he can start wars too. Just start droning
Not
them.
officially.
Not officially. No, you can't declare an actual war.
But he can stop it
But
anytime.
I mean, we've been droning Pakistan for how many years now, and we ain't at war with them, as far as I know. Mm-hmm. So
my message, and I'm gonna be honest, my message to the students this morning, and we had a community gathering, is that the system is built in that to prevent one person to becoming king. Mm-hmm. We have the legislative, judicial, and executive branch. Not telling them that they're all controlled by the Republicans. But those are the checks and balances that this democratic system was.
And our government moves slow. So there's always a chance that a lot of the stuff he says...
Well, even with the legislative branch, even with the judicial branch, there's checks and balances within that establishment. So, a president coming in with the key, thinking that I've got the key to the whole country, no, he's going to find another door with a... that needs another key that he doesn't have.
But my friends were trying to tell me that Republicans were going to go against him. And, I heard, but I was like, but look at what he just did. And you said it. Look at who he got out to vote. Mm-hmm. So you're telling me that in 2 years, when they're up for re-election, he's not going to go there and be like, get this person out. They're the reason I can't get work done. And they know it. If they're Republicans and they don't realize that, and that his media presence is way bigger than theirs, I mean, he's going to use that like a club.
Ultimately, these are people. Republicans, Democrats, Independents, Libertarians. We're all people.
Yeah.
And we all want the same things for our kids, right? Mm-hmm. For our families. We want a good opportunity. We want to have fun, go on vacations, have a good life, have our kids go to school, have our kids go to college.
We want options.
We want all the nice things. We want to be able to go and spend some money and have good and have holidays. We pretty much want the same stuff. We just see about getting it a completely different way. Mm-hmm. I think the goodness of people will win out.
I think so too.
In my opinion, the goodness of people will win out. They're coming from a place of strength now, not a place of weakness.
They got no excuses.
Yeah. So now there's nothing to fear because you have the power. Mm-hmm. So you can't use fear to manipulate people anymore because you're in a situation of power. So what are you going to do with it? You can't just talk now. You got to actually come up with something. So what is it you're going to come up to support everyone? Because that's your message. You're saying this is what's good for everyone. So let's see what's good for everyone. Let's see you produce policies and practices that are good for everyone. Let's see what happens.
But it's always human nature too, though, that you want to take care of your own first.
Exactly.
True.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I mean,
but it's hard to watch other humans suffering. It is. For some, if you really reach down to the human nature, people don't like to see dogs tortured, right? People come together. They don't like to see kids tortured. People come together for the military. There's things that appeal to all of us. So I think we're pretty similar all the way around. We have our way of seeing it, our own lens of seeing it. And you know what? It's going to be interesting to see when someone feels like they have the power, what they do.
No, and I agree. I mean, that's why I try to emphasize that yesterday. And today, my message to the kids, we were doing this project, and I was just like, all right, that's out the window. We're changing our project. And so now, the projects in my classes, we're going to make YouTube videos. We're going to make it as a class. We're going to put the message out there. We're going to share our stories. I was like, because that was kind of that's why we have this bubble. Our bubble is not meeting their bubble. And then we're going to look at their bubbles and try to figure out what's going on. I was like, I think that's an important part of history is looking at the shared stories throughout our whole history and seeing what are the similarities. How are we alike? Let's emphasize that. What are the similarities between Africans shoved into a slave ship in the 1600s to Mexicans shoved into the back of a van with 2 bottles of water and they got to stay quiet, dropped off in the middle of a desert and then told to hike to the nearest town. Like, where are the similarities? Where's the suffering? What's the motivation? Because, folks were saying, like, well, both are forced, but one kind of had an option of, like, all right, let's deal with this. We looked at stories of, poor Mexican farmers who were like, I could either stay here and watch my family starve, I could go to America for 6 months, get enough money, and come back here and buy a farm. Or, and they're looking at these stories and sharing those similarities. And I was like, all right, this is one thing we can do. I was like, there are actions we can take as a society to bridge this, to build understanding. And that's why I try to get the kids to understand.
Bless you, Doug.
But, I agree as far as your assessment of Trump, too, which is that, like, they told them there's, like, 3 or 4 ways these can go. He can go in there and be like, oh, I just said a lot of that stuff to get elected.
Yeah, no one really knows.
Yeah. Did you guys see what he said? Because back in the 80s, that he said he was going to run for president. If he did run for president, he would run as a Republican because they're idiots.
Yes.
Yeah. So, that's the thing. It's like
he could be like really this genius guy. And I always thought that this guy is crazy. He must be trolling us, right?
Yeah.
And you don't really know, man.
You don't. And we won't know
how extreme it was. That's how extreme this
was.
It was disrespectful to my intelligence to watch him speak and try to have him answer questions. I did not last 30 seconds.
Unless he's just
I turned it right off. I said, this is
unless it's just
what
a
am I watching
game,
here?
Right? And if it's a game, that's pretty freaking genius. If it's a game, and only time will tell.
And that's the problem. Is you got his transition staff coming in. He's making his appointments now. He could be in there for like a month or 2, and then just be like, all right, yeah, his appointments are what's terrifying me. Because like, listen, that global warming shit, that's real. Mm-hmm. Whatever you might think, like, there are hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of independent scientists around the world who share the same opinion. I was like, when you appoint someone to the head of EPA who is a climate change denier, that's fucking terrifying. And you know who that affects first.
Pyramid's only been around 4,500 years. We never really know. Maybe 30,000, 4,500.
Hey, they're not building those pipelines through white people lands right now.
Exactly.
And he's going to approve both of those and push those through. So,
pipelines are going to...
I'm like, I feel bad for those Native Americans. Cause
those are our people, though.
They are.
This is what people are missing. People aren't understanding that everyone who lives here
is us.
We are all Americans.
That's what that was my message today.
We are all Americans.
A paper does not identify you as an American or not. Right. You are living here. You are experiencing.
You are contributing. You're building relationships.
You are experiencing America.
Right.
So therefore, you're American.
Yeah.
Right. So the Filipino president,
also scary.
You know what? I've been following him. He's actually challenging the way I'm thinking.
Okay.
Most recent thing that he said was, if you are not living, those Filipino Americans, they're no longer Filipinos. Initially, I would say, ooh, I'm as Filipino as I know. But depending on what your definition of Filipino is, and if you identify, just using Filipino as an example, if you are identifying Filipino as someone that is experiencing the life of a Filipino in the Philippines, which is completely different from my experience as a Filipino American, I'm no longer Filipino.
You're American.
No, you're Filipino
American.
But ultimately American.
Yeah. But even now, after Tuesday, with all the things that is happening or is being said continues, am I really still as an American based on what the majority says, right? Whoever is in power says, right? So I'm thinking about it. Well, I'm not. Then I'm not. I'm not an American. So what am I? I'm not Filipino. I'm not Filipino American. What am I? And I'm also thinking, I'm like, this is what black people have always felt.
Yes.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
Right? Yes.
And we're tripping about it because it's the first time that
you got to question that.
I'm neither. Right. Where do I belong?
Right.
That is your experience on a daily.
And where can you go?
Where can you go? I can't go nowhere, bro.
There's nowhere for you to go.
Where am I going to go?
Because if you go back to Africa, they're not going to accept me back in Africa and be like, he's African. No, you're not. Look at you.
Bro,
you are not the African.
Uh-huh.
They're going to be like, come on, man.
And I'm not Filipino because I don't experience
the Filipino
lifestyle. So,
right. Your kids are biracial.
Right.
Come on, man.
Yeah. And see, listen, let's be real about it. Our biracial kids.
Our biracial kids, all three of us.
And I'm biracial too.
Yes.
Let me explain that experience. You even have less because unless you have a strong community that pulls you in,
true.
Like if your son gets pulled strongly into the black community
mm-hmm.
or gets strongly pulled into your wife's white community, whichever one he then gets to identify with, you're lost. And even if he gets pulled in the white community, on the real,
he's never going to be all the way in.
No,
he's not. He's not because
there's not home base. There's no home base for him.
And that's where I am. I mean,
you are that token.
Yeah,
mm-hmm.
And it's hard. It is hard, and it's like you can go back and you can talk with the black community about like, man, this is what I've done.
But let me push it back against that.
Okay, all right.
There is a community of biracials now.
There is, and that's the thing.
But you see what I'm saying?
Look at all the people that you know.
There's a community of all my friends. Our kids are biracial.
Yeah. And that's new.
There's a large community now.
Well, here.
Yeah. So our kids are going to have that.
Here.
Yeah, I didn't see that until...
Here. Yeah, in California. In the Bay Area. What's it say Bay Area? California Bay Area. All right?
Right.
We're speaking locally. Yeah, we got to be specific.
That is the true definition of a melting pot.
Yes.
That is a new...
We do a good job here in the Bay.
That's a new race of people.
We do a good job here in the Bay. It is a new race of people. It is.
Right.
But that's...
Definitely is.
But that's something that...
And comes with the new... way of thinking.
Yes.
Being biracial.
Because you're connected to two different...
You see the experience.
Cultures. And you can grab onto both and you can pull them both inside of you and say, I'm both of these. Let me share...
So that's going to be
Let me share the white part, the Irish part.
Yeah.
Let me share my African-American part. This is really cool. You know what I'm saying?
But it's hard. And that's the thing is like...
So that's the only reason I push back against.
No, I agree. So you're right. Our kids are going through something that I didn't have when I was growing up. Because growing up...
It's going to be more common.
I couldn't fit in with the Asians. I wasn't Mexican. Like, there weren't that many Filipinos at my school because it was in Sacramento. I was like, and I definitely wasn't white. So I ended up with a lot of the misfits. Like, a lot of my friends ended up being,
and at
kids
that
who were
time, there
gay.
wasn't a lot of biracial people.
Yeah, or other biracial. I had one or two other folks who were biracial, or like the minority who was like, I had a friend who was Puerto Rican. He's like, all these Mexicans around, I'm Puerto Rican, and they don't really like me.
Here's the bad news, though. Even with biracial kids, the Maori also will always be seen as part black.
Yeah.
Or just black.
Or just black, and that's gonna be.
Yeah, and that's always
disadvantage for him.
And that's what I would teach.
We're not gonna.
I'll teach him to work. I will teach him to work with that.
My kid might end up looking a little Mexican.
There's a little power. Yeah.
And your kids too, straight up. Sorry.
Yeah. So there's power in that, though, and the essence and the presence of being who you are. Yeah.
Power in him.
Yes. Yeah. Because everyone can sense the essence of being a person who comes from African blood and American slavery. Coming through that. There's a fight. There's a spirit that comes through your essence. That people can feel and sense.
And he will have that.
And trust me, sometimes people get intimidated by that. When I come and do public speaking, you enter a room.
Listen, 59% of the country just said it's a little much.
Yes.
59, but 50%.
Yeah. So that's teaching my son to use that. It's going to be a fine dance. Mm-hmm. You see, I work with kids and see them struggle with that constantly.
Yeah. But the thing is, your son will have the advantage that I had. Which is that he'll be able to see how his white mom moves through the system. Mm-hmm. I got to see how my white parents move through the system. I got to see how the system works. And that's why, like, during my admin classes, I'm talking about them.
Are you doing that right now?
Yeah, man.
Yeah,
oh, yeah, no, it's good. I've been telling them, I'm like, I know how the system works. And then I can know where to play and use my identity to push change or use my history with my white parents to push change. I was like, so I can always know the angle to attack, which is something that a lot of people of color who don't have that background will have. Bro. You don't, and you're having to learn it.
I've had to learn it.
Yeah, you had to learn the system.
I am where I am because I've had to really work hard.
You had to learn.
I had to learn and work hard.
Work hard at learning something that's foreign to you.
I've learned it. okay, this is how it goes, and then I had to work hard to get that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So that I can be where I need to be. And I'm like looking at my beautiful kids that are all brown in the classroom. And I'm like talking to Monica. I'm like, look at our kids. Our kids are so beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
And these kids are going to be competing against people that are outside of the school.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We have to make, and this is part of the revolution right here.
Mm-hmm.
They are our soldiers.
Right.
Yeah. No, I mean, that's the thing. And it's, even for us knowing the system, it's not easy. It's constant work, because there are those times where you get, you have the strong emotions where it's like, I hate to say it, but like, one of our coworkers was telling me yesterday, don't worry about it. Like, it'll be fine. I was like, well, you can say that because you're white.
Right.
I don't want to hear that from you because you don't know. And it's like, and I had
Did you say that? You thought of it.
I thought it, and that was that moment where like the white side of me said, "Oh, don't go there because it's not going to do nothing."
Right.
Pull it back. But the man of color of me was like,
yeah.
Fuck you. Like, don't talk to me about this. You don't understand what I'm worried about. You don't understand the fears that I have, and I have a better understanding of my kids' fears than you do.
Our kids, bro, my first graders, man, yesterday came in the first grade class, and that got me, bro. That got me. When they talked to the teacher, like, is my dad going to go back to Mexico? And, it makes you really realize that the decisions that people make affects families and little 6-7-year-olds, and that's heartbreaking, bro.
And that's why that's why I'm doing my Shorty Stare project, because that needs to get out there.
Heartbreaking when we all have kids.
Yeah.
When 7-year-olds have to think and be fearful of their dad's not gonna be, their family is gonna be broken. That's their
terrible.
whole world.
Yeah, that was terrible.
Bro.
I left to do my podcast yesterday, and Damari was, Daddy, tore me apart. Can you imagine?
Imagine.
Oh no, Daddy's got to go back to Mexico. He's not coming back.
But
what?
The reality
What do you mean by that?
It's already happening.
Yeah, right? That's terrible. You hear story like this is not a if. This is happening. This is not if it happens. This is happening right now.
But the question is it going to get worse?
That's the question.
And that is
I cannot say that their fears aren't warranted.
No, and I can't either.
And I can't say to my kids that things are going to be okay.
Right. I can't. And that's what she...
no guarantee. And I'm not going to lie to my kids.
And that's what she wanted me to say. She's like, your job is to calm them down. I was like, no, my job's not to calm them down. My job is to educate them.
Just because a website says you should tell them things are going to be fine, I don't buy that because I don't know.
Right.
How do you know?
Yeah. But I did, the one thing I made clear to them is like, as long as you're here, your safety is my top priority. And if it ever does come to a point where individuals come to the school looking for specific kids, I'm going to do my best to stop that. I was like, I don't want you to go with them because I don't know what's going to happen.
Well, that's the thing. I was thinking about, we are protectors, right? In school, how,
if ICE comes through, I can't be letting them take my kids. I don't know where they're taking them. Are they taking them to detention? Where's their families? Are you shipping them separately? How can I, in good conscience, allow my kids...
how can we protect them, though? You know what I'm saying? How can we protect them?
I got no comments for none of this stuff. This is all good questions, and this is all awesome questions that we get to ask the people who are now in a situation, in a position of power, and how we get to have conversations about how is that American? We can go provide aid to all these other countries, but we're kicking out and destroying families of the people who live here in our country.
Destroying families because they don't look like you.
Right. But other families that don't look like you, we can go fly and provide aid for. Right? And be the world protectors. But we can't.
I remember the commercials in Africa, just a penny a day, man.
Exactly. Just a penny a day.
And even that, they're destroying countries.
Exactly.
Those NGOs.
They are.
Because, what? How can you stimulate an economy if you have to compete with free? You can't.
Yeah, you can't. You can't. There's no way you can. But you get my point, though, right? So it's like, it's going to be one of those situations where they have to come up. Nobody wanted 9/11 to happen and all those people to die, and everybody's touched and emotional about that. Nobody wants people to get hurt and families to die.
All right,
and
I'll back you on that. Okay, I see what you're saying then. Okay.
You know what I'm saying? And service people who got cancer from the debris, and firefighters who were all different colors and races, and police officers, and you know, you still, that was an attack on America.
Any one specific group.
But let me point out, of us. The people in power didn't get a crap about them.
Then again, did we really get attacked though?
But the people, don't even talk to them. We're not going there. Eddie Bravo style. You're not going there. You're not going Tower 7 on me. You're not going Tower 7 on me.
And the Earth
free falling
is a globe. All right? It's a globe, son. Is it really? Can I just fly straight to the Philippines?
But the Pentagon, where's the engine parts in the Pentagon? Where'd it go? Where'd it go?
I'm not going there with you guys. I brought in 9/11 to make a point.
Okay.
Assuming that 9/11 was real.
Assuming 9/11 was real.
That's your
point.
See
my point, though?
Yeah.
Everyone, we're all, as America, we are really, truly, ultimately connected. It doesn't matter if we're united, but we are connected.
We are. Like I said, I'm not Filipino. I am Filipino American.
Right. I'm African American.
We're all connected.
It can only be that here. I can't be
anywhere else.
No.
And have that.
No.
Dude, if they send me back to Vietnam, I'd be so lost. But, like, I don't... Dude, I grew up with two white folks. Can you? Come on, man. You can.
We'll go to the beach.
We'll hang out with Mr. Paul.
Mr. Paul will take you to tours, bro.
I told the kids, I was like, realistically, though, they'll probably send me to Tijuana anyway. They'll be like, you look Mexican.
I'll go to Jamaica. You can take me. I'll go to Jamaica and live there.
But I mean, like,
crazy crime.
Honestly, like,
you want to go to Jamaica because they got track and field over there, bro.
I'll coach you.
They got some good track and field.
Yeah. Dude, they'll probably coach you, man. Like, I'm sorry. They got some good.
Yeah. Some drugs too, though. But, there might be some steroids going on over there.
A little bit.
Maybe. Allegedly.
It's
that performance enhancing drug marijuana. That's what the problem is.
Which they passed.
Yeah. What do you guys think about that? That's another piece of conversation. What do you think? I don't like the trash attached to it, though. They attached a bunch of legislation, like you can't smoke a joint and share it if you're under 18 with someone else. So, like, if you smoke and then pass it to your friend, and the police see you, you're held up to.
How are they going to enforce that, bro?
6 months and a $500 fine.
Whoa. They'll enforce it against black people.
Yes.
Like, they'll enforce that
against black people. This is another rule. Come on, man. This is minorities, all right?
Bad.
I was like, what you talking
about?
Bad.
This is Filipinos, too, because you know how the Filipinos, depending on how hip-hop they want to be.
Hey, they got bad.
They can be kind of thug.
They got, it's prevalent.
Yeah.
The glaucoma is prevalent in our culture and food.
Glaucoma and anxiety, right? Right.
I think it's one of those cultural step forwards. Is that looking at, reflecting, and saying, like, this is not criminal. Like, this is not criminal. I think that's the first step. Now, people are pointing out, like, oh, well, it's not perfect, it's not right. I'm like, guess what? In California, as much as we like to sell ourselves as a liberal, you guys keep pointing out, the Bay Area is liberal.
The Bay, maybe go 30 minutes east.
Go to
and
Fresno,
it's conservative.
Go to Clovis.
Yeah.
I mean, I can go to 5 and 99.
I can go to Gilroy and it's
Morgan Hill,
Castro Valley.
Yeah.
So I mean, the real.
Not Willow Glen. Not Willow Glen. That's new money. New money.
Yeah, new money is usually. But like the truth is that we weren't gonna get a super awesome, like, top line progressive thing. We needed to have something that made it legal to change the culture so that people looked at it as normal.
And then redo it.
And then we can fix it as it goes. Okay. And we can always have another prop to fix it.
I can see that point.
Right?
I don't care. I don't smoke anyway.
I don't either, bro. So, I'm high on life.
Me too.
I'm not going to answer that question. But I mean,
to each is, everybody.
I mean, I don't smoke all the time.
You're not going to deny or what is it?
Confirm or deny. Just keep it there. Keep it there. Don't confirm or deny. Let's leave it there.
It's legal now. Kids, yeah, I've done it. I was over 21 too. Figure it out. But I mean, it's one of those things where it's like, it's all small steps. I think we made some good gains in California. I mean, real good gains.
Mm-hmm.
Like Prop 55 is excellent. The plastic bag one, I'm so happy about. That's amazing. That's perfect. I was like, but we made some steps back.
Yeah, I'm not even. Remember when they were going to cut that, we were all tripping, like, oh, we're going to carry the groceries?
Yeah, because I used to carry a lot of groceries with
double bag that bad boy.
One trip.
One trip, baby. Yeah.
You do 8 bags. You do 8 bags in one trip. Your fingers are like this, right?
You get to the door and you're like, I didn't get my goddamn keys.
Yeah. You do the whole thing.
And we were tripping, but now that was what 5 years ago.
Yeah, you bring your bags. You gotta bring your bags,
and then you kick yourself in the ass if you forget your bags.
You gotta pay 10 cents.
Or you just put it back in the cart, go out to the car, put it all in the trunk. That's what my kids were saying. It's like, my dad just tells us to go get everything out of the car. So it's like all the kids go into the trunk, getting groceries out the back one at a time. It's like, all right, that's fine too.
Yeah, it's easier to carry it with the bags though.
Oh yeah, it is.
It's a lot easier.
They made the death penalty faster though.
Yeah.
I mean, they streamlined that, and that, I got a problem with that. I don't think it's, other than a military component, I don't think it's on the government to be deciding death for folks, especially citizens.
I think people don't want to pay for.
It's cheaper.
It's cheaper for life imprisonment.
Yeah, life in prison has always been cheaper.
And all that stuff.
Yeah, and trying to find, the big issue that's happening now is that internationally, and like the people who are against the death penalty have been a large part of this, but internationally it's hard to get those drugs, and we don't sell them in America. So lethal injection.
We don't have them, right?
Lethal injection is out. So it's like, what are we doing? Are we doing firing squads now? Are we doing
in California? We can't kill anybody right now because we don't have the injections right now, right? They're all illegal now, right?
Yeah. Well, all the drugs. No, they're not illegal. They're illegal to sell. In the United States, it's illegal to sell any of those drugs. And then as companies outside the United States find out that the U.S. is buying them from them to use them for lethal injections, they refuse to sell to the United States because they're like, we're supposed to be saving lives. That's why we do this. Sorry. So, I mean, there's a whole, I think there's a radio lab or something about This American Life. It was a really good one.
I didn't hear that.
Oh, no. It was their new one.
I've been listening to Joey Coco Diaz too much.
Yeah, you're listening to Joey Diaz?
Listen to Fight Companions too much.
I didn't listen to this latest one. Did you listen to the election one?
Oh, I'm listening to The End Is Nigh, The End of the World.
Yeah.
Is that any good?
Bill Burr's on there.
Is that any good?
It's pretty funny. Like,
I haven't listened to it yet.
But they got like 15 people. So they like in and out. No. It's funny because like you'll hear them like, Burr steps up or like Rogan steps up and Kreischer and all of them. They step up and they say some like funny ass lines. And you're like, oh, that's good. But like it is pretty busy as far as it goes.
So how do we, there's a lot to be, it's exciting times regardless of how we.
Are you guys doing, my question now, before we wrap this thing up, are you guys doom and gloom?
No.
Are you doom and gloom?
No, like I told kids, I came in today and I told kids, like, listen, yesterday I was processing. I was scared for you guys. I'm like, that's honestly the truth. I was like, but I can't be scared all the time. If I was scared all the time, I wouldn't get nothing done. I was like, so we have two options here. You guys continue being scared, or we're going to do this project. This is how it's going to address the situation. This is how we're going to get our message out there. We're going to get it out before Trump becomes president. Because I want him to be able to go and look on, and maybe someone points out this video to him and says, hey, this is what kids are worried about. This is the story that they've got to tell. How are you going to address that? I was like, and I want that message to be out there for them by the time he becomes president. And they're like, you think he'll see it? I was like, I don't know. Well, we know how to spread stuff on social media. So we can spread it on social media and we can get that going. I was like, well, you got to take steps, kids. You can't be scared anymore. I was like, welcome to adulthood.
Yeah, I think if anything, it motivates me to work harder.
Step it up, right?
To stepping it up. Because you know what? It might not change for my kids, but my kids' kids.
Oh, yeah.
Hopefully, with the way it's progressing now.
Yeah.
But it's not going to happen when our kids, are voting adults, right? But maybe our kids.
It might. I'm not putting any limitations or any expectations or anything. I'm willing to see what happens and roll with the punches as we grow, as our mindsets.
Well, we've always been kind of like the underdog, right?
Right.
We're in a position.
I'm a black man, dude.
We are in
education.
I'm a black man in education, man, with a master's degree. Right. I've always been an underdog, man.
You know what I'm saying? And it's we've always functioned in that space where we have to work harder because we're motivated by something.
Right. And I'm a badass dude.
We're motivated by justice and equality.
Come on, we all are.
Right. We've all been that way. Right. You know what I mean? And it's just a regular, that's just, we're going to keep doing what we're doing for our kids.
And that's the key, to make sure people know, it doesn't matter what anyone else says, you got to be a badass dude. Be who you are.
Badass, right. Period. Women, be badasses. Yeah.
Well, I mean, I'm a dude, so.
Oh, yeah, you got to be a badass dude. Yeah,
you know what I mean? And just be a badass, right? Just come through and handle your business, and don't be afraid of anything. Don't let fear paralyze you from anything. No. You got to do it. It's not enough just to know. You have to be willing to do.
Were you quoting it earlier?
I can't remember. I got my Bruce Lee poster up in my office.
Well, someone was saying earlier, which is that. What? There's they were quoting the Will. Did you talk about the Will Smith movie?
No.
After?
No.
Oh, that wasn't you guys?
No,
all right. So apparently there's a really good quote in that where he says, like, you know, he's like, fear is not real. Danger is real.
Mm-hmm.
Fear is your reaction to danger. Mm-hmm. Are you going to let the fear overwhelm you so that the danger overwhelms you? Or are you going to overwhelm the fear and respond to the danger? And that's what I'm trying to get kids to right now. And I think that's kind of our job in education in general. But this is kind of that kick in the butt.
And we as people who are sane and confident and intelligent, we got to kind of stabilize some of the people who are freaking out. And help them see things from a different perspective and calm them down. Because when people are in that emotional, reactive state, they do things that are not coming from an intellectual mind frame. It's coming from a fear, an emotional,
fight or flight.
Yes, instinctual kind of part of the brain.
But being calm doesn't mean also letting people like say foolish things.
No,
like I mean, you know, that's the thing. It's like you can be calm, but you need to address it. Yeah, exactly.
Always.
Yeah.
I don't say ignore. I never say ignore. I don't agree with ignoring.
No.
I say you always address it. I don't say ignore bullying. I don't say ignoring disrespect. I don't teach people to ignore anything. You pay attention to it and you address it some kind of way. Yeah. You don't have to punch somebody in the nose, even though sometimes that's effective. But you gotta let people know. Look, I'm not gonna tolerate your disrespect. I know what you're doing. I am not gonna allow you to do that to me.
You know, this whole event really, and like I said, it's a reality check. It's a sobering experience in that. You know, we continue to. It helps with knowing where we are with regards to American.
It is.
Politics.
I mean, because
American values.
I didn't know this was going to happen. I didn't know he was going to win. I knew it was a possibility.
Yeah,
I was chilling, bro.
I knew it was a possibility.
We'll catch up. Yeah. There's no way.
I knew it was a possibility. Yeah. I didn't know he was going to win. I was shocked that he won.
I think that was the shock.
But I wasn't shocked that it happened.
You weren't surprised.
I think we all knew that a large percentage of America felt or feared that way. But I think we're all kind of surprised or shocked. We'll go shocked because we come over that. You can't say surprised. It's like you don't see coming. We are shocked at how many felt that fear and how many he was able to motivate that way.
Mm-hmm.
Because like I always thought of I will be honest, I always thought of Americans as strong people. And I don't see that in a vote for him.
Right.
I feel like that's a vote for him.
That's the thing, bro. And that is where I am, bro. You know, I mean, I feel like, and I'm still processing it. The 59 million people that voted for him, voted for the symbol. He symbolized hatred, bigotry, racism, right? And those are the values, regardless if he's trolling or not.
And anti-establishment.
Anti-establishment.
And a strong man against the establishment.
Yes.
So you have 59 million people that's supporting that. That's what's heartbreaking for me, in that, you know, you think of people that they're kind and they're loving and they're caring, and then 59 million people voted for someone that symbolizes the opposite of that.
Yes.
Including the religious voters.
Yeah.
You know, that hurts me.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I'm still trying to process that. Right? So who is it that they're voting for? You know?
Of all of us, you're the one who you put your life on the line. I mean, you're in the forces.
241st birthday of the United States Marine Corps, my beloved Marine Corps. You know what I'm saying? I mean, and that was my message again today. To be able to have this conversation, to be able to just have this conversation an option, that's why we are celebrating Veterans Day tomorrow.
Goddamn right.
Yeah, that's a great point.
That's regardless.
I'm going to the parade downtown.
Regardless of what you feel. I'm going to Asian Art Museum.
Going to the parade downtown, celebrate with my Uncle Otis. Uncle O.
But it's a beautiful thing to be able to have this freedom to vote and to have even this conversation topic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, we got a doctor's appointment tomorrow, and then I don't know what we'll be up to, but
we wouldn't have that option if we didn't have the policies, right, and the military.
No, I agree.
Mm-hmm. I agree. Definitely.
But I think that's a good place to stop it.
All right.
Like, right?
Love
Respect
you guys,
for
man.
veterans. Love you guys.
Respect.
We'll try to do this. Maybe we'll try to hit this up every other month. Because I know, like, we can. This is a nice office.
It is nice. It's nice.
You still got to.
You're the boss. You close the door. You're the boss.
You guys, I need to point this out for anybody who. Most of you have never been in here. He's got a James Baldwin poster. Right. Ignorance out of what power is the most ferocious enemy justice can have. All right. But an enemy is something that can be addressed and changed, hopefully.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what our job is.
I agree.
All right. So
good job, guys.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Until next time.